like always, we appreciate you all coming out. It's not always fun for any of us, but there's some things in the last 72 hours that have gone on that we'll get as much clarity as we can on and address the game itself, coaching changes, and then Hawaii, obviously. So let's take Boise, number one. As you know, we take great pride in who we are as a football program, and it's the cornerstones of physical and mental toughness being a big part of it. Obviously, the other night, we didn't play that way, and was disappointed. We all are. The execution on both sides of the ball needs to be better. We were very sloppy. We never got in a rhythm from an offensive standpoint. And then the second half defensively, it really, we had 19 missed tackles, 15 missed assignments. And I think what happens a little bit when you see missed assignments is guys, they get off what the plan is. A defensive lineman, if he's supposed to pinch inside, he loops because he feels he's got to help make a play, he's got to make a stop. That happens. Now, it shouldn't happen, and believe me, we as a staff, we're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. Too many dead ball penalties. I mean, we had 7 false starts. You can't get a rhythm with 7 false starts, and we didn't do that, didn't play well enough with it. It kills drives, obviously, and that's a responsibility that we all take on. And so it's things that we have to correct, things that we have to, and some of it, and I hate to say it, a little bit of maturity, and then also there's some older guys who had a couple of those false starts. So it's all of us, and we got to do a better job defensively. First half, I thought we played very well. And then obviously in the second half, things kind of just rolled against us a little bit. But at the same time, that's on us not tackling and not fitting some runs the way we needed to fit. So, and I think after the game, talked about them making some adjustments. When you watch the film, they didn't make any adjustments. We just didn't play Aztec football, and that will be corrected, I can promise you. As far as staff changes, coaching changes, I want to say a couple things. Number one, it's hard to do, and it's hard to do mid-season, I can promise you that. And I got fired at the Carolina Panthers mid-season after we had 5 or 6 sacks against Tampa Bay. And so I know how that feels from a personal standpoint, a family standpoint, and I really, it's hard. The one thing I can tell you is Jeff Eklinski handled this like a pro. And being in the situation, Jeff and I had talked Thursday before the Boise game. We had a discussion. He had come to me. He wanted to have the discussion. Depending on how the game went, he felt that there was going to have to be some sort of change. And, we're very loyal to each other. Our families are very loyal to each other. It's 17 years that we've worked together or been associated with each other. And when you do get into these situations and you do let someone go in mid-season, and again, I said I know how that feels, you still realize it's all of us. It's not one guy. I mean, we won 12 games last year. It wasn't just one guy, believe me. It was a staff working together, and it's players working together. And so from that standpoint, I appreciate everything Jeff and his family, Tiffany and the kids, have done for us personally, my family, Laura and Kelly, and also how we feel about where we're going. And he'll have a great career because he's that kind of man. He's that kind of coach. As we move forward. We've got, after a lot of thinking, a lot of discussion, Jeff Horton is going to lead our offense. Jeff is a guy that I have had an unbelievable relationship with since I've been here. But before that, knowing Jeff and knowing of Jeff in the profession and what the standard and you know, I've said this a lot in the different, you know, articles and stuff that we've talked about, and you know, about Jeff and his room and those running backs and how they're ready to play. That doesn't just happen. And so Jeff is a guy that I have the utmost respect for, and I love the way he works, and he works with his players, and he works with the team, and so we're excited. The other thing is Ryan Lindley. Bringing him back is exciting, and it's exciting as the head coach before, who got to coach Ryan and be with Ryan, and just knowing how his career has progressed. I think it's ironic in some ways, and I think it's really neat that he was working on the defensive side of the ball as an analyst, because that truly helps you. So I'm really excited about Ryan and what he will bring back to us from his different experiences. So we're excited about that. This week, you know, last 72 hours have been challenging, adversity, but that's what we're going to find out. We're going to find out about us as a football team, coaches, players, and everybody associated with the program about where we're going to be in challenges and adversity and how we work forward. We look forward to winning the championship still. We start playing the West Division, and that's exciting, and so we need to move forward. I know in 2015, that team started 1-3. And won, I think, 8 straight games. Was it 8? 10 straight games. Yeah, because they had 11 wins, right? 10 straight games. And we put a little something together for our players to look at and to think about yesterday. And, you know, we're excited to get back at it, be home again here at Snapdragon, and to play the University of Hawaii. I talked a long time there.
Can you say a little more about what you put together for the players specifically?
Well, you know, I had, you know, I wasn't here during that time period, but we had some conversations 2 weeks ago, you know, 3 weeks ago a little bit, and it just a highlight. And some of it, Murph, our film guy, and Craig Smith put it together, and just kind of went back to 2015 and how that season went.
To inspire.
Yes, no question about it. You know, and I think when guys visualize, I'm a visual guy, I think it's very important.
Bringing back Lindley, he's obviously a lot younger. Do you think that makes him more relatable to those guys, and how can that possibly help?
You know, I'm 61, so I'll be 64, right? And I relate to guys pretty good. You could ask Caden, right? But I don't think that that wasn't what I was looking for. What I was looking for, a guy who's detailed as a quarterback, and a guy who can teach. You know, and that's an important part of what we all do. So I don't know. That might be something that comes out of it.
I mean, he also checks a lot of boxes because of his, from being here, all-time passing leader, his experiences both NFL and college. I mean,
well, there's no doubt. I mean, it was an easy decision. And it was one that kind of came to me, to be honest with you, because I wasn't thinking about that piece yet, where I was at the time. But to me, I called it, I texted him. They were playing Texas A&M. I texted him before the game. He texted me back and said after the game we'd get together. And then it was about 7 hours later, because they had recruits in and all that, and I was getting a little nervous, but we had a great conversation.
For both he and Coach Horton, what can your expectations be that they can do in 5 days? Do you see this being pretty seamless? And what results can you expect?
Yeah, I don't think anything is seamless with it. I think that, there's times when, a different voice you may need. And I just thought it was now that we needed that.
Obviously, Coach Horton was offensive coordinator before, back again. What kind of differences would we maybe see in how he runs an offense?
Well, there's going to be some things that we've brought in and we've had that we will, incorporate. At the same time, we've got a bye week next week. And so the timing of that part of it for this week, obviously, we went, and I always say to coaches, because sometimes we think we know it's all us, but it's not what we know, it's what the kids know. So us, having a firm grasp on what we want to make sure these guys understand is what we will do.
Would you see Coach Horton and Ryan in these two roles just to finish out this season, or beyond that as well?
You know what? I haven't got beyond that, and when I do, I'll let you know.
What's the level of excitement like for Ryan to come back to San Diego, come to his alma mater? I mean, it must be near and dear to him to be back in San Diego.
Well, John, Saturday night, I think when him and I finally got together, after they were done recruiting and doing the different things, and him doing his due diligence, which, talking to some people and all that, about 10:30. And so we talked, him and Hort talked again. And then we set up a flight for him. And getting out of Starksville, Mississippi, there's not a direct. And so he spent 3 hours in Atlanta on Sunday. He got here Sunday night. I came in the office about 5:45, 6 a.m. Monday morning, and he was sitting at his desk. He had slept here, even though we had a place for him. And in fact, he hadn't seen his parents yet. But he slept here, and he's ready to work.
How does he feel about, and how do you feel about just the situation right now with the quarterback room? You've had injuries. How's everyone in terms of getting ready for Saturday? Because obviously you've had some depth issues there.
Well, we do, and I think we made a smart move with Maiden, him coming back to offense, coming back to as a quarterback. And I really give Jalen a lot of credit, because Jalen was the one, he came, hey, coach, whatever you need, I'll do. And he did the same thing when we moved him to safety. And I really, really appreciate his attitude, and I think his teammates have respected him because, the Utah game, this is a quarterback who played 40-some plays, and I know he wasn't a quarterback, all those things, but he earned a lot of respect of his teammates.
What's it like for Ryan when you walk into a room and you have a short period of time and it's a relationship business? What's most important for him? Is it establishing relationships or establishing things that can translate?
Well, I tell all our coaches, and I learned this a long time ago from Lloyd Carr, the players aren't your friends. You're going to coach them, you're going to direct them. And so that as more time goes by, more time for a relationship. But right now, it's football, and it's doing the things the way we know can be successful.
Did you feel like going back to Saturday that if you punch one of those 2 field goals in, you let
touchdown instead of a field goal.
Yeah, and I want to say, I was actually listening at the time, but you scored, and then there was a penalty, then the gate's a touchdown, you settle for a field goal. I mean, when you look back on it, is it as simple as, if you had another 4 or 5 points in that game at the half, it might be a different football game or not?
I would say it's hard for me to say. I mean, obviously, we'd rather have 7 than 3, no doubt. But I think as we go forward, you know, I don't know where we were. We made some key missed assignments defensively.
How's the quarterback situation set up this week?
All right. I was waiting for that. What is today? Tuesday, right? Today's Tuesday. Brax practiced yesterday. No contact, all that. He's got to go through the concussion protocols. Believe me, our trainers, our doctors are on top of it. Obviously, Kyle is having surgery tomorrow, and we'll put him out for 4 to 6, I believe they said. And then with Maiden over there, we also, DJ Ralph, who's a walk-on for us, who's a very good walk-on. We're kind of going through all those. So I think we'll have a full allotment on Saturday.
But at this point, you can't say if Braxton is targeted toward being the starter, or can you see him progressing to be the starter Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I'm not the doctor and I'm not a trainer, but I think they feel, and I shouldn't speak for him, Kirk, but I think they feel like he'll be ready.
And then if you do need a backup in that game, who would be the first guy that you would see as a backup?
Well, let's wait until later in the week. Maiden's over there for a reason, so.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, do you look more toward a guy who's got experience or someone who has been practicing the quarterback for the last 2 months?
Yeah, it's good. That's a good question. I think whoever we feel gives us the best way to win on Saturday.
Anything else for Coach?
There's a lot of talk about seeing more passing, but this is an interesting week because Hawaii is second to last in its rushing defense. How do you see this team kind of setting up offensively?
Well, when I look at the game and I look at the film, there's some really good football players on that team. And this morning meeting with the D-line and talking with them and having Justice here, you get a little scouting report on each guy, but they're a talented group. And so, we got to go play us. It's got the best we can play, and it's got to be about us.